Grisly discovery on Sunday when he found 6 dead bodies in a train boxcar. It happened during a routine inspection in a rail yard in Laredo, Texas, near the border with Mexico. The county's medical examiner says the bodies of 5 males and 1 female were recovered, but they have not yet been identified. They are believed to be from Mexico and/or Honduras.
One, two. So 6 bodies were found in the back of a cargo trailer on a train. I'm going to tell you some details of how these bodies ended up in there, a little inside information on that. Plus, not only that, the interview that I did yesterday, I'm going to give you a little more details about that too. Fugitive TV, stay tuned. Welcome to Fugitive TV. I am your host, Ray Marcel. And what we do is we take a look at cases of either missing individuals or true crime cases that either need a deeper dive or a different perspective that maybe you're not used to or haven't heard. Because I was once a fugitive on the run from the law myself. I ran from the law for 15 years, living under different names, living in different countries. Now I am a motivational speaker. I own a couple companies. I have this YouTube channel and I help family members locate missing individuals. Well, right now there is a story about 6 individuals that were found in a cargo trailer, pretty much a trailer that's attached to a train. There's a little bit of an inside scoop that I can give you guys of most likely how they ended up there and what happened. And not only that, I did an interview the other day with a person from the South American theft group. Okay. And this interview, or the person I spoke to, in a way connects with, not the individual themselves, what I'm saying, but their story, his story can connect with the stories of, unfortunately, these people that were found in the back of the cargo trailer. Now, the cargo trailer, they were all dead, unfortunately. They're passed away. One was a female and the rest were men.
Well, Kate, it is. And unfortunately, it seems that all 6 of these victims died of heat stroke on a day that reached a sweltering 97 degrees down in South Texas. We're learning a lot more from the county medical examiner, who told NBC this morning that we're learning more about the identities of some of these people. She told us that the one female victim was identified as a 29-year-old woman from Mexico. One of the male victims is a 24-year-old from Honduras. She says she believes that all of these victims are from either Mexico or Honduras, and one of the males appears to just be a teenager. We're also hearing from Union Pacific, the rail car company that owned this rail car. They don't say much, but they do acknowledge the incident, saying that Union Pacific is saddened by this incident and is working closely with law enforcement to investigate. A law enforcement contingent that you have to assume now includes authorities from multiple countries with non-citizens involved, Kate.
Yeah, and so what are the next steps here, Ryan, as they try to gather all this information?
Well, the medical examiner also tells us that in order to determine their identities farther, they have turned cell phones found on their persons over to Border Patrol to try and find any identifying information. They've also assessed their fingerprints to find where these people may have come from and try to find their families. I think the number one question for law enforcement at this point, Kate, is, was this human smuggling? This reminds me of the tragic incident in San Antonio back in 2022 when dozens of people were found dead in a tractor trailer. We don't yet know the circumstances surrounding this, but it has to be at the top of investigators' minds.
Yeah. All right. Ryan Chandler for us. Ryan, thank you.
We thank you for watching, and remember, stay updated.
And I believe one of them was a teenager too. What I'm going to do is I'm going to read an article real quick that gives us some more details about these individuals. All right, so I'm going to read this, and after I read this, then I'm going to explain to you exactly, how they got in this position and exactly what happened. Now, I know some people know, they were coming from the border, but I'm going to explain to you guys how this procedure works. All right. 6 people whose remains were discovered in a cargo train boxcar in South Texas were identified as Mexican and Honduran nationals, officials said Monday night. The Laredo Police Department was called to a Union Pacific train on Sunday afternoon after an employee reported a trailer boxcar with the discovery of multiple casualties in the car. The victims have been identified as 5 males and 1 female, ranging in ages from 14 to 56, according to Webb County Medical Examiner's Office. 2 are from Honduras, a 14-year-old and a 24-year-old man, the medical examiner said. The 3 known Mexican victims are a woman 29 and 2 men 45 and 56. Following initial examinations, it has been determined that the female victim succumbed to hypothermia. Webb County Medical Examiner Corinne Stern said in the Monday night news release, while formal examinations for the remaining 5 individuals are still pending. Now I'm willing to bet that everybody pretty much passed from the same thing: heat exhaustion from being in that cargo trailer. While formal examinations for the remaining 5 individuals are still pending, it is highly probable that hypothermia was the cause of death for the entire group. The release added that the remaining exams would be completed on Tuesday. The age and national origin of the 6th victim, a male, were not immediately available. The Webb County Medical Examination Office is working in close coordination with Mexican consulate to officiate communication with the families of the deceased. Okay. Police said that a 7th person found dead near the railroad tracks in San Antonio Monday is believed to be connected to the victims found on the train. Bexar County Sheriff Javier Salazar said Monday that the 7th person may have fallen off the train or been thrown out, which is why he was found in San Antonio, about 160 miles northeast of Laredo. The sheriff identified him only as a male. At this point, the prevailing theory is that he's a resident of Mexico that was among the group that was being smuggled into the country in one of these shipping containers. And so you can get a visual image. Here is Laredo down here. Okay. Laredo, Texas. Actually, let me scoot this up for you guys so you can see it. So there's Laredo down there, and San Antonio was up here. So if they're coming from Mexico, right, they would be going through Laredo into San Antonio. So the 6 were found here, but the 7th person, who was outside the train that they're saying thrown out, was found here. I have a theory on that. Now, for those of you that's been following me and following my story and watching my channel, you guys know I was a fugitive, and I told you that I lived in Tucson for a little bit, about 6-7 months, something like that, while I was on a run. And while I was there, I was actually crossing the border into Mexico and coming back. But I was crossing the border not the way that the normal people would cross. I was crossing through tunnels, all kind of things like that. And because of doing that, I had to use what they would call coyotes, people who help you, cross the border. Either it's by way of car, train, or whatever, sometimes even boat, or hiking through trails or going through tunnels. Either one of those, but you are paid a coyote. Coyote charges you a fee. Then in return, a coyote pays the bigger people. Now, the bigger organizations could be anybody. It could be any one of the cartels, any of that. Coyotes don't work for themselves. They work for a bigger organization. So a coyote might charge you $5,000, and the coyote might have to pay an organization, a cartel or anybody, maybe $3,000 of that, and they get to keep $2,000, sometimes even $3,500. Just all depends on what they worked out. If the coyote didn't pay that fee, then guess what happens to coyote? They're not here anymore to do the job, and then they replace them with somebody else. Now, when I heard of the story, it is unfortunate for the family members. It is unfortunate, but I'm pretty sure these individuals were coming from South America, right? And we all know they were trying to come here illegally. But what they do is they get in touch with one of these coyotes, right? Or one of these, they call them smugglers too. And then they pay this fee. So everybody aboard this cargo train or cargo trailer that was on the train, one or two things: either already paid a fee, okay, or they got aboard for free and we're going to go to a certain destination. And in return to go to that destination, those individuals had to work and pay that debt off. So for example, the woman they found in there, okay? A lot of times women, they don't have that fee or that money to pay. So a lot of times the women are transported, and by the time they get to America, they're here either through some sort of sex trade, or they put them in some sort of club, gentleman's club, and they got to work and pay it off. Here in Florida, we have a lot of gentlemen's club, and you go to some of these clubs and they can't even speak English. They are from Cuba or something. A lot, and half of them are not even illegal, but a lot of them get here this way because they're trying to make a better life, but then all of a sudden they get here and you got to pay this off. So now they're working for, I guess you would call a PIMP, if you want to call it that, and until they pay off their debt or their fees. So, and this is not the only case. A lot of people unfortunately lose their life, especially in the summertime because it gets so hot. So what these coyotes or smugglers would do, they would also do one or two things. They would know the trains drop off and pick up and destinations. They would know all that. Now, how would they know this? Yeah, looking at the trains, right? But a lot of them will have inside information from an employee that works on the train, or somebody that works with the train company or the semi company or something. And then that person is also getting the cut. All right. And in return, they're giving them information. Hey, this is going to stop at this time. This is the train they need to get on. Jump on this one. Because think about it, especially a train, right? You have so many cargo trains, so many of them. How would they know which one to get on without running into somebody, right? So there's not like 80 people that work on these trains, but still it's a risk they take, especially traveling that far and that long. So a lot of times they would have some sort of information. Now, the seventh person they found, very interesting because he was found 2.5 hours away from where, the other bodies were, right? And they're saying that he or that person was part of it, but he's almost 2.5 hours away from Laredo. So, and they're saying that he was thrown off of the train. So I'm wondering if he was maybe a person that was in charge of this, or he could have been a person who was in charge of this, didn't do his job correctly, and that's why they found him, or he was a seventh person and he just passed away first and they decided to throw him off. It could be one of those two things. Now, I said earlier, this kind of correlates with the interview I did from the SATG. One thing that was not in the interview was that the South American theft group, a lot of them get here legally, but some of the ones who got here illegally, this is how they get here. And then when they get here to the States, remember how I said if they don't pay the fee? If they don't pay the fee, once they get here to the States, what do you think they're doing? Now they're working these jobs. They're, scoping out your homes. They're being spies for other people to go in and maybe steal things, stuff like that. They might even have them doing these things, okay? And that's how this correlates, all right? So who knows what they were getting sent here to do? We don't know if they already paid the fee and they were just going to get let loose and pay free. But I'm pretty sure the woman aboard, I'm pretty sure, because 9 out of 10 times the woman, a lot of times they're sent here to work for somebody, all right? But this does not deserve to happen to anybody. I don't care who they are. My condolences go out to the family and to the victims, but I figure I'll let you guys know this in case some people were wondering like how this happens, all right? So please like, subscribe, help me get to 30,000 subscribers. I am almost there. I am one of the fastest growing YouTube channels in the true crime sector. I've reached 25,000 subscribers in less than a year. I'm sorry, a year actually. It's been a whole year now. Last month it was a year. So please like, subscribe, turn notification bells. Until next time, please take care of one another. Love one another. This is Fugitive TV. Watch out for your surroundings, and I'm out.